Hello dear chess friends, welcome to analyze of first game of World Championship match, which is held in Dubai in UAE. Magnus Carlsen versus Jan NepomniachtchI, and let's see the game one. Magnus led black pieces and Jan NepomniachtchI led white pieces. Jan NepomniachtchI opened with e4, which is his favorite initial move, and after e5 personally, I expected black will play c5, going for some Rauser variation or Sveshnikov, popular nowadays. Especially, we can see that Magnus is performing Sveshnikov very well, but of course, someone probably was prepared by Magnus and he played e5. Nc3 Nc6, inviting to Rule Pays or maybe Berlin, but still Rule Pays after a6 and after bishop a4, normal variation was played, where after b5, bishop b3, black played casting. And now, instead of normal c3, with idea after d6 to play h3, well, maybe white was afraid of the d5, you know, and so who knows what Magnus did prepare. So still Jan decided to play h3, and we see that black was not surprised, Magnus was not surprised, he played knight a5. Knight a5 is one amongst the other solid moves, just d6, like bishop b7, rook e8, all that is playable, but knight a5, we see that Magnus decided to play maybe for more than a draw. Knight e5, knight b3, ab, and after bishop b7, calm move d3, supporting the center, d5. Black normally wants to open the position he has, bishop pair, right? He takes, queen takes, queen f3, and bishop d6. I'm not sure if king f1 was played earlier, but that is the best suggested move, and perhaps, not perhaps, I'm sure Jan prepared that move for the match, but Magnus decided, instead of playing something like queen e5 to test some forced variation going like this. Who knows what will happen here after queen f3. He decided not to test it and to go for a calm move, the rook fb8. Exactly that rook. Rook ad8 just loses the game, because after that there is a fork. There is a fork, and if bishop d5 there is, just as you can see, rook a6. So black must defend the bishop with rook, and now black threatens to remove, let's say, queen to c5, attacking both pawn, c2, both knight e5 and the queen, and white would be a problem. Now it is best for white to take, and normally bishop d2. Of course, let me show you what can facing white plays in accurately. After that, knight b4, white cannot defend the pawn, c2 together with knight e5, and game is over, black will win the game. Bishop d2, c5, knight f3, rook d8, and now white played knight c3, because after knight b4, natural move, he has rook ac1. Maybe I would rather go for rook ac1 instead of played move rook ac1, but definitely there are some nuances, and Jan decided to play this. Rook ac8, knight e2, idea is to remove knight, and now white has two positional threats, so maybe to take that knight or to maybe exchange the bishop. After knight c6, I wonder why not bishop f4. Perhaps black will just remove the bishop. White played first bishop e3, but that gave black chance after knight e7 to open that diagonal once again, and now maybe a bit risky move bishop f4. Maybe Jan just decided to go for equal endgame, but still in that equal endgame some initiative would be on black side. Instead of that, well, I don't know, but knight g3 looks normal to me, and maybe something like knight d2. Why not knight d2? Maybe with idea knight e4 and then bishop f4. I would go for knight d2 definitely. But bishop f4, and now black uses his chance to damage white pawn structure, and some rook belongs to 6th rank. Magnus decided to put rook to c6. As you can see, black has some attacking moves with that rook, and that rook defends pawn a6 as well. Black definitely has maybe even more than compensation for lost pawn, but Still pawn is a pawn and both sides should play precisely. Knight e5, c3, and after knight h4, rook e3. Rook e3, well defending a pawn and being ready to double on the file. Now knight g2 with idea to eliminate the pressure, but after that white gets tempo to defend the pawn. After g6 again knight defends pawn, this time this way. Now we can see pawn h3 is safe, there is not rook h6, but white rook e5 is somewhat passive here. Knight g7 with idea to restrict white rook with f5 and to put knight on e6 where it can get access to dominant f4 square. Jan must not allow that. He played knight g2, but in some moment maybe f4 can be played. Right now not, because after f4 there is rook e4 and that would give nothing to black. That would be risky because after rook a1 white has initiative with 2 active rooks on the file. So black decided here to play b4. What's the idea? If white takes, black knight will get access to d4 and rook will be open after cb. Of course, if white doesn't take, well, black will have possibility to play rook b8 and that rook will act as submarine against that weak pawn b3. King e2 was played and we see that Jan here goes for a draw, because after that he just calmly defended his second rank with this move. If black doubles, okay, just rook a2 and there is nothing, white threatens rook e6. So after king c2, rook goes back to b7, h4, important move to prevent black's activity like g5, f4, who knows. King f7, rook e1, white wants to reduce material and to put knight back to play. After knight gets dominant c4 spot, white is out of any problems, and here players decided just to go for repeating moves in equal position. Okay, that was first game. I think you hope as well that we will see a lot of fight in the rest 13 games. I hope there will be 13 games to see tense match till very end, and still, although game number 1 was ended in draw, we could see that there was very interesting, surprising and counter-surprising. I think both players were surprised in some moment by opponents' play in the opening, but okay, draw is fair result. First Jan had extra pawn, Magnus had some initiative, later Jan stabilized position. Now you can see even white maybe has some initiative due to better knight, but of course there is nothing, and draw is fair result. Well, see you soon with analysis of game 2, and stay with us, dear chess friends. Bye bye.